What is up, guys? Alex from First of Figures.
Yep. And I'm Chocos.
This is obviously the big man Artorias from Dark Souls, the first in our line of these sort of centerpieces, you could really say, and so happy to finally be able to present it to you guys. Basically, it's been a long time in coming. I think we developed this over about 6, 7, 8 months. Sort of starting from sketches and concepts and going to the development stage of the printing, the painting, right, and the approvals, and then actually making the counter sample. So what you're actually looking at here is not just the paint prototype. I mean, it's not the paint prototype at all. What it is actually the counter sample. Now what that means is basically the factory will take our paint master and they will replicate it the best they can, and this gives us an indication basically on what the final product, i.e. what you guys will actually be opening up, will look like. And this is it. So this is not something that the factory says they can't replicate. This is actually what the factory made. So really happy to say it's come out amazing. Yeah, they've sort of managed to keep the original that I made, the prototype. They managed to sort of keep it there, the fidelity there. Sure, there's some small tweaks we'll be making, but generally it's really close.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I mean, I'm totally impressed. I mean, we had the paint master in a couple of days ago. We had this side by side, and apart from the minor few issues like paint wise and some of the
so we can tweak those. Yeah, for sure.
It's very minor, but it's up there definitely. So don't worry, guys. The quality's there. For
sure, and we've been teasing this for months now. I mean,
yeah. Sorry, guys. I know we've been a bit,
Based on that,
yeah.
It's like I think you got a bunch of questions from the community about asking that. So
we pretty much asked. We're always listening to you guys all the time, especially with this Dark Souls figure. So statue. So basically, we went through through a couple of polls, and then all you guys contributed. We do actually read all the comments. So so just keep throwing these questions at us, and then when we have time, we'll make more videos, and we'll just keep throwing those at Alex. Is that right?
Keep throwing them at me. Absolutely.
Okay.
Fine, no problem.
Sure. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. So I'm just picking names out of random comments. So let's just get straight to the point. So okay, the first person down the list. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Nikki Romain, and then the person says, how does the statue compare to the rest in the same line?
Well, seeing as RT is actually the first in the line, he compares fantastically. But no, for sure. I mean, there's already been Ornstein has been teased, Sif has been teased. Mm-hmm. There's Solaire as well. So in terms of how do they compare with those in the lines, absolutely perfectly. So they're all in scale. So you will find that because obviously Artorias is a boss. Right. And when you're a player, you're obviously much smaller compared to Artorias in the actual game. Solaire is smaller than Artorias because Solaire is the sort of same size as the player. But for sure, Sif and Ornstein, they absolutely match. And I think you might have seen a tease for Sif where she's actually holding, he's actually holding, should I say?
He or she, it depends. Yeah, it depends. The community's been saying quite a lot of things about
but
gender.
They were saying that the official guide referred to Sif as a he.
Right, yeah. So don't start an argument, guys.
I could actually just probably ask From Software, that would be easier.
Okay, once we get a proper official answer, we'll let you guys know.
So yeah, in terms of the sword, you see the sword that's being held by Sif, and you can see fits in the mouth, and the sword is exactly the same length. So in terms of how will they look together, the answer is bloody awesome.
That's right. Yeah, I'm definitely can't wait for that when that arrives in the office, and I'm sure Alex will start slowly teasing you guys step by step of the way.
You guys love it.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Okay,
No
next question. So basically, the next person, Michael Berger. Right.
I'll go for one of those.
I could do with a burger right now. Yeah. So basically, Michael's actually submitted quite a few questions. So let's go through them one by one.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So You had any challenges with the statue itself?
So actually, a bit of history with the development. When I first, when I first developed Artie, it was sort of where do you start? And one of the things that you sort of have to think about, the overall vision of the character, is the pose. I mean, that's really important. And the pose was really important, that to go with an iconic pose and to have meaning and some sort of relevance to the character, of course. So there was actually two choices that I was really considering that was sort of a bit of back and forth. And the first one was the sort of crouch down pose. I think it's off the DLC cover.
That's right. I remember you talking about this the other day, saying,
yeah,
you know, maybe we could use the flowy movement.
It has a lovely movement on the clothing and the cape and that sort of lovely movement. But my main problem with that is that he was crouching down, and generally people, I feel free to tell me your opinion, guys. I feel like if it's crouching down and sort of almost like half the size, because he's crouching down, even though he's the same size scale-wise, but because he's crouching down, people almost feel like it's maybe don't quite like that as much. Yeah. Now, that's my understanding, but of course, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about that. Chuck was on a poll.
Alright, another poll, guys. Sorry.
So the second one, obviously, is this one here, and what was it about it that sort of brought my attention? Well, because in the game we talk about his arm, his left arm in particular is crippled, and you sort of have it sort of hanging down and that sort of sagging effect, and it's sort of how to say, sort of lent itself to that, really. So the pose also, he's not standing straight up, but he's crouching down, very similar to how he's sort of in the default attack mode. Mm-hmm. And it sort of allowed for the kind of wide stance. It sort of complemented the fact also that his sword is really long. So it's almost like if you were having a completely...
It's okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry, guys. The base is strong.
Let's say you had Artorias standing completely straight.
That's right.
And it's almost like he's got this long sword. How do you think about the proportions of this statue overall? Because he's really tall, and then you have a long sword. It's almost a lot of negative space. Mm-hmm. So you have a negative space on the left and the right if he's standing straight. So this kind of wide open stance sort of complements where you have the sword. It comes out a little bit over here, and it comes out a little bit over here, and basically it's sort of kept within the frame, and therefore you don't have this massive amount of negative space on either side. Exactly. So ultimately this pose is what we went with, and hopefully you guys agree that this was the right decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way I take, from my side, the way I take it, like I said, it could be in an attack mode, but for me it looks more like a defense mode, so it's like a defending Sith. So I don't know, it depends how you look at it.
For sure.
I like it the way, because that represents the whole characteristics of Artorias right there from this pose.
Absolutely.
Great choice.
Thank you. Oh, why don't we give him a turn while we're chatting?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So flip him. Yeah. Right. Sweet.
There we go, guys.
Absolutely.
Next question, right?
Yes,
yeah.
I guess
I'm just
so.
admiring.
Yeah. No. I know. I was also thinking, like, I was listening at the sound of the turntable. Hopefully, it doesn't get picked up on the mic.
It should be okay.
We'll see. Yeah.
So, okay. Next question from Michael. Why did we go for 1/4 scale instead of 1/6 scale?
1/6 scale, puny. Artorias is the boss. Actually, to be honest with you, joking aside, obviously bosses as a bigger size, and that's why I have Soler as a smaller size. I can't just make bosses and ignore fan favorites like Soler. So it made sense that if I was to go 1/6 scale of Artorias, then would people really want to have a 1/8 or 1/9, 1/10 of Soler?
It would be, yes.
And it makes sense for it to be into scale with each other within the game world, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not. I think that would be too small. So bearing that in mind, for sure, we went with sort of 1/4 scale. So Artorias is actually bigger than a normal 1/4 scale. I mean, 1/4 scale would be. What I mean is a typical 1/4 scale character is 18 inches tall for a man. Artorias is 20 inches tall if he was standing straight. Sort of overall height is something we'll cover that later, but so he is sort of bigger than the typical 1/4 scale characters.
Okay. All right, that was a very insightful answer there. But if you guys disagree, then definitely give us a shout. I mean,
all about the feedback.
Yeah, if you
all
want,
about the feedback.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, positive, negative, we'll take anything. So we'll consider everything. So yeah, just fire them away. Okay. Okay. Next question. So how long did it actually take this statue to be developed from the renders all the way to the prototype?
So that was quite a relatively long process. I mean, I wouldn't say it's atypical. I mean, pretty. Also, you have to understand this is our first project, not with Namco Bandai, because we already released King, but that's a different team, and that's the Tekken Project team. And this is with the Dark Souls team, and obviously from Software.
Yeah.
So, always the first one that you make with any licensor is always going to be the hardest, and a lot of that involves sort of making sure that they're happy with the quality, because obviously it's their baby, it's their franchise. It's obviously making sure that they're happy with it, and that needs some time. So I definitely found that Artorias took sort of 6, 7, 8 months. But I'm finding that Sif and Ornstein and Solaire are going through the works faster. And that, again, hopefully, From Software are happy with what they've seen. Obviously, otherwise we wouldn't be pre-ordering it now. But
yes. We had that question yesterday on Facebook.
Oh, did we? What were they saying?
It was, how are we going to, how did Artorias get approved?
Or was it approved?
Or was it approved?
No,
yeah.
I think it was. I think I remember. Was From Software happy with it?
Oh yeah.
And the answer is, if they're not, we're not happy. And if we're not, if they're not happy, we're not happy. And therefore, we're not putting something out that we're not happy with. And likewise, we wouldn't get approval. If we don't get approval, we're not putting it out, basically. So yeah, absolutely. The moment that something's going up for pre-order, it has gone through the approval process. Absolutely.
Cool. Great. Okay. One last question from Michael before we move on to the next person. His final question is, were we given any assets to work with?
Actually, we weren't for this one, actually. So and that also led to a sort of longer development time. We weren't actually given any assets. But what we would do is we would submit for approval, and then we would come back with quite a lot of comments. And then obviously we would then resubmit and again get back comments. Right. And then over time, basically the comments came back to, yes, it's approved. So that was quite challenging.
Well, there must have been something they actually worked on, based on, or you just had to carry on playing from
There was a lot of research done,
right.
and a lot of deaths having played the game, and a lot of YouTube watching as well. It's important just to sort of, watching other people getting killed by him.
Excellent. Okay, so moving along, Nina Owen. I know who you are. So her question was, why did you choose Artie?
Well, I think the main thing that drew me to him, obviously, there's a couple of things actually. The first one is we ran a poll. Actually, it wasn't a poll, it was just on the main page of the Facebook page, and it was sort of seeing how, announcing that we had the Dark Souls line, and what would people like to see? And Artorias came up a lot, and so that was obviously one thing that made me drawn to Artorias. And the second thing is the lore, man. I mean, fantastic lore.
Yeah.
Artorias needs to have Sif, and
it would make common sense.
It would make common sense, and the fact is that they go so well together. The story behind them, I mean, no spoilers, but man,
it's very moving.
All aboard the field train.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fantastic lore. Fantastic. So yeah, absolutely. And that's what it is about Dark Souls. It's just about the lore.
I love the game world.
Absolutely. So it was a no-brainer.
Okay, cool. So another question from Nina. So who actually sketched the Artorias, as in from scratch?
Yeah. So shout out to Yogesh Sharma, a really talented 3D artist that's been working with me for a long time. So yeah, we were doing the work together, and for sure. So that was a lot of back and forths on that, and perseverance and patience,
Preparation,
all of that sort of stuff. And also I have 2D guys that work with me as well to help me when things are slightly, sometimes you need a second opinion, and
That's
it helps
right.
me out. So shout out to Boy and the talented guys over at Studio Hive.
Okay, great. So, one final question from Nina is, are you also a fan of Dark Souls?
So, for sure, I mean, Dark Souls, as I said, it's the game world, the setting is one of the things. The second thing, of course, is playing the game, and I couldn't finish it. And I think if I had more time, I could.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to think.
Right.
But of course, it was incredibly difficult. And I found that really challenging, and I enjoyed that a lot. So the answer is yes. And the answer is I wish I had more time.
Right. Cool. Well, we'll make time. We'll make time. We'll make sure of that. Okay. All right. So, wow, this is a tricky question. Are you going to be okay with this?
Sure.
All right then. Sure. Let's go ahead. Right. Question from Ricky Underdog Powell. Do you feel you've hit the jackpot with this license? And subsequently, do you see this as a massive success or happens? Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Okay. So do you see this as subsequently a massive increase to the
fans?
To the fans, yeah, to the club, yeah.
Club.
Yeah.
So first of all, this hasn't launched. So has it been a massive success? The answer is I have no idea. So I can't answer that question right now as per this video. What I would say though is what I've seen as a massive success is the fact that it has brought a whole slew of new guys into the collectors club.
Yeah.
Sort of people liking the page, just sort of getting to understand about First of Figures basically, because you could have the best product, but if no one knows about it, what's the point,
That's
right?
Yeah.
So in terms of that, absolutely fantastically happy about that. That these guys are coming in and being very vocal about it and actively joining in particularly in the collectors club. I mean, that's fantastic, and for sure, very, very happy to see that. And it's all about trying to expand.
That's right.
More licenses, different groups of people. So I'm happy to see that Dark Souls has led to this increase. And when we're tackling, obviously the internal plans of trying to go after, pick up some anime licenses. We hope again to expand into so another group of people can come and join. And diversity is key. Diversity is the spice of life. And absolutely very thrilled with the reaction that people are coming to know us about. Basically. Yeah,
excellent.
So
I'm sure we can have another video when we talk about anime.
Yes,
Right.
not for a while though. Let's get a little bit further down the development line. But some exciting things happening there, would you not say?
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited. But like what Alex has said, like a lot of people have been coming into the club recently, well, especially these last few days. So I'm excited as well. I mean, it's nice to see new people coming in. Everyone's blending in. We haven't forgotten the Nintendo, Sega, Metroid, Zelda fans at all, so don't worry about that. There will be more content to follow. Just bear with us for now. But let this statue shine. Okay, moving along.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Next person, Marlon Samos. So, any part of Artorias that are made out of metal?
So one of the issues as I said, this is the counter sample.
That's right.
The original paint sample didn't actually have. Basically, it almost became like a banana shape because it was made in resin and it was warping. So what we've done is for this one, we've added a flat metal sort of rod that goes all the way through the length of the sword.
That's right.
in order to basically make sure that it's really straight and doesn't
level.
do that. Yeah, for sure. And we're sort of looking at whether or not also adding it over here as well at the top of the hand. And actually, here's an actual good point. The exclusive version. Why don't we have a little conversation about that? So, what the original plan is. Well, why don't you go ahead and show it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, everyone's been asking me on a daily basis. So why why answer in text form? We'll just show it in video form.
There you go.
Okay.
Because it actually goes to sort of answer Simone's questions, Marlon Simone's questions.
Yeah.
Simone's.
Yeah, Simone's. Not samosas, Simone's.
So there we go.
Yeah. Okay, are you guys ready? There you go. This is the exclusive version.
So it comes with the uncursed sword.
That's right.
And his original great sword. So I'll show you. So I will
Shall we
slide this
take that off
there.
and then we can compare it?
Why are we comparing this? Let's have an actual fight.
Whoa.
So we obviously have his cursed sword here, and now we have his part of the exclusive.
Okay.
Part of the exclusive.
You're leaking information again, Alex. Yes, part of it. So.
Just going back to the metal thing. Some of the changes that we've done is. Before we actually had it so that the handle, should I say?
That's
it
right,
was separated here, and you would have to slide it through and reconnect it like that. But ultimately, we felt that wasn't going to be very stable. So bearing that in mind, what we did was actually made two hands and have the hands connected directly. And actually, now you're changing it here. So obviously, you see it there.
That's right.
We added a metal thing through the length of the handle as well, and so the whole thing is going to become much more stable than it was compared to the Paintmaster. So that was the benefit of changing it at the production level, at the production time. You go ahead and swap around the swords.
Yeah, and it's very easy to install, guys. It's basically just a pin and it just goes straight in there.
If you have a look at where it's going in.
This had to happen on camera.
There you go.
And it's rests slightly on his back.
Absolutely.
Is that right? Yeah.
That's absolutely right. Let's just give him a turn.
Yeah.
For sure. That's part of the exclusive. So the other part is, again, working with a really talented team at Studio Hive. We've got an exclusive art print, which hopefully through the magic of editing, we can actually have that overlaying here or appearing somewhere. You can see it here. We're going to do a whole video on that as well. That's a whole nother ballgame.
Another video, guys. Already.
Spoiled.
Well, I've seen the art print and I want one. That's all I can say, guys.
All I can say is that all can be employee perks.
Yeah, we could arrange that. But guys, definitely look forward to this exclusive version. 2 swords and an art print. What more do you want?
Absolutely. Him talking
without
a face.
LEDs.
It's going to be kind of hard.
Okay.
Sure. No, there's one more question.
Yeah. One
final
question from, I don't know how to pronounce this.
Micaiah, I would say.
Micaiah.
Yeah.
Okay. Micaiah Bartlett. Basically, further down the line, will we have diorama setups?
So you tell me, guys. Do you guys want to see small versions? Because of course it's a cost concern. Do you think Chocolate, please ask the community and let me know. Do you guys want to see small statues, but multiple of them, in a diorama, sort of fighting or whatever it may be? Do you guys want to see that? Let me know. I'm always listening if there's enough demand for it, of course. But at the moment, certainly for these guys, they're just one piece, one guy, and that was sort of to give the kind of let them shine in a sort of imposing size and scale. Instead of basically trying to bring down the size in order to fit other things in there. So that's sort of my reasoning behind sort of starting with this.
That's it.
Okay.
I think that's all the questions we have so far. So just keep throwing questions at us and we'll...
Yeah. Actually, one of the things I wanted to talk about was a little bit more about the making of him. Okay. And I think it actually goes back to Michael Burgers, man. We're still talking about burgers here.
Sorry.
Talking about the difficulty as well, and some of the things that were involved in that. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was it's always usually the case where the first 90% is done in 10% of the time, and the last 10% takes 90% of the time. And what I mean by that is details. And this thing is chock full of details. And when you're talking about, obviously, the pose, we talked about that, about the position of the posture, but I'm talking about the little things. Yeah. And it's the little things that count. And I'm not going to put any lame pun about what she said or anything like that again. Okay. Any of that. So we're talking about the corruption and having Artorias going through the abyss and having that there, and it's all about having the black effect where it's been sort of I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's got gloss involved in the corruption, and it's sort of going up and down his leg. Obviously, all over his regular sword is full of the corruption, but it's all about just sort of having attention to detail.
You can see the shine and the highlights shining off the armor itself.
Right.
I mean, guys, we'll have some close-up video shots, and we'll
try and stitch it together.
Stitch it in this video. And
one of the things here as well, sorry, just as I was turning around, is you can see the actual sort of carving. I don't know if that's picking up. The carving, he's like being absolutely whacked in the back, and he's got a massive carving down his back, and you can see that his clothing on the back has been split open. And it's that sort of attention to detail that it talks about the lore, it talks about that, and even going down to the sort of foliage on the base. I mean, the base is not an afterthought. We're there sitting there, it's absolutely to do with the scene that you fight him in, and you can see some of the corruption, and when he attacks, it's on the base as well. So that is some of the other points that I wanted to sort of.
No, absolutely, because not everything can be picked up from the video, so we'll try and take some close-up shots of these.
Right, for sure.
Okay.
Okay, so we need to give some shout-outs. Shout out to Derek Baker. What's up? And we have a Mike Flores. What's up? And now, do you want to try the last one? No.
Last one?
I'll go for it. Nathanja Van Vemde. Now, I hope I gave your name justice. Shout out. And for sure.
Yeah. Well.
So that's basically what from the community. Yeah.
That's right.
Why don't we do some sort of?
I don't think we've done yet, have we? We've still got more to talk about.
Yeah, sure. I mean, well, let's talk a bit about if you were to buy Artorias, or if you pre-ordered him and you want to find that perfect place.
Mm-hmm. Whether it'll fit in your so-and-so cabinet.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, Dettol fans. He won't, unless you decide you want to put him on the top. But
that is true, yes.
For sure, why don't we sort of have a look about sort of things for scale?
Where shall we start?
Why don't we start with sort of just basic measurements, I reckon. Okay, yeah, so
what do I have here?
Yeah, well, here's one we made earlier.
Okay.
So, let's...
Okay, shall we do the...
Why don't we start off, why don't you actually take this bad boy?
Okay.
Actually, how do you want to... Why don't you just go from the one on his...
on his back?
Yeah, on his back.
Okay, sure.
That makes sense.
Okay, guys, from the tip of the sword to... What do we call this?
The end of the handle.
That's right, yeah. We're looking at 24 inches.
And we can actually say that if you just want to just quickly measure that one as well.
Yep, so it should be exactly the same. Yep, 24 inches.
There you go. Corrupted and uncorrupted, exactly the same. And of course, this is the production sample, so it's because just in case you guys didn't know, when you go from the tooling model and you go down to the production sample, there's actually what you call a generation, and what that means is you take the tooling model to make the silicon casting, and then from the silicon casting you make basically the white casting here, and that actually has about a 4% shrinkage. Okay. So I actually make sure that when we make the tooling model, we actually increase the size slightly in order to take that into account. Absolutely. Okay. So this is actually the production model. So this will be, if I was actually measuring the paint master, actually the actual eye would be slightly smaller. But that's not what we're doing here. Mm-hmm. We're actually doing the counter sample. As I said, what you see is what you get. So for sure.
There you go, guys. You learn something new every day.
Why don't you try with the
height wise, yeah?
Yeah,
the height,
the bottom, just sort of turn around for you.
Okay, from the base
to the tip of the hair.
To the tip of the hair, which I would say here is probably the highest point.
Yeah.
Is about 20.5 inches. Yeah.
And he's crouching.
Why
don't you actually put him on the
on the top of the base, from the bottom
so
of
his size himself.
Okay, so it's just under 19 inches.
Cool. So, and as I said, I originally sort of scaled him to be over 20 inches standing straight. So for sure.
Hope that helps, guys. Oh, the
width.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I can do that. Yeah, well, why don't we just sort of turn him like that so you can get the width. So up to that point there, and then you're going to have to sort of wing it on the other side.
Oh, you want to grab this
that
as well?
Sure.
So if I'm saying about... Ooh.
Bring him to over there, and I'll tell you, and I'll bring him over.
So from the tip of the handle...
we are looking at 23 inches, 58 for our metric family. Oh. 58 centimeters for our metric family, yes. Sure. Was it? Maybe the guys want a sort of side view? I mean,
depth,
a depth. I would say, a depth.
Depth from the end of the cloak.
That's the most bit coming out, right?
Yeah, the most bit sticking out to what can I say? To the edge of the base. It's around 30 centimeters. Yeah, so it's around 12 inches.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So, guys, let's see where you would put your Artorias. Show us your display cabinets. Where would you put him? He deserves pride of place. He deserves to be in the centerpiece, basically, and that's what he was envisioned as. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that's what you guys do. Should we try some things for scale?
Yes, because not everyone's going to have
a tape
measure in hand. So, but what do we have?
We do have
bananas.
Bananas. We don't actually have bananas. What we do? Let's slightly move him across here. Oh bloody hell! Did we actually bring a scale?
No, sorry guys. I mean,
well, the answer is he's heavy.
He's heavy, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Two-man job.
Two-man job, absolutely. So we have one can.
330.
330. Absolutely right.
That's
330. Right. That's what we get in Hong Kong. Sorry, guys. For Americans with what? 350.
I don't know. I don't drink American Cola. Sorry, guys. But I know the cans are bigger.
These are kind of slightly wonky, so I'm going to have to maybe use some support. Yeah. Just want to hold that there. Yeah, that's perfect there. Okay.
All right.
And what do we hit? Now we're here. It's still not there.
No.
You need the big 5. You need the big 5. Hopefully there's no... it's so tall that it's gone off the camera.
Just a tad.
Just a tad.
Just a tad.
What we could maybe do is try putting it in the front. So that would actually probably help. So I'm just going to... That is super quick right there. So right in front of him.
Yeah.
And then whack that on. Ooh. And still doesn't fit, but they got an idea.
It's around 4.5 cans.
4.5 cans, absolutely. I'm quite thirsty. Do you fancy?
Yeah.
Afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, sure. 2 for him, 3 for me.
Absolutely. What's the? So we've done the. Is that pretty much it? So, is there any questions you guys want to give us in real time? Maybe for next time.
A live recording.
Well, what I would say is, please do guys give us some feedback. This is the first time that we've done anything like this ever, and really appreciate. Did you guys like it? Was it useful? Did it help make you think that you wanted to get him or didn't want to get him? Was there anything that we could do differently that would make it better? Obviously, this is as good as it gets in terms of getting a camera, getting a mic, and sort of
That's right, yeah.
Last moment kind of let's sort of do something. It's all very, very last moment. Hopefully you guys like it, and we would appreciate the sort of feedback. Right, Chuckles?
That's right. Definitely look forward to your comments, and we apologise if we made some silly mistakes on the way, but hopefully things will improve in the next video.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Take care.